Captain Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of the UHS Leviathan with slow and careful steps. The massive ship stretched 15 kilometers from front to back and 3 kilometers from side to side. It was the biggest thing humans had ever built. 50,000 people lived inside its metal walls. The ship had enough weapons to destroy a small moon and engines that could tear holes in space itself. Jake looked out the main window at Earth floating below them. The blue and green planet seemed small compared to the giant ship he commanded. He had spent 10 years preparing for this moment. Today they would leave Earth forever and travel to another star system. No human had ever done this before. Commander. Lisa Hayes stood next to the navigation controls. She had been Jake's second-in-command for 5 years. Lisa was smart and brave. She never made mistakes when it mattered most. Today, she checked every system 3 times to make sure nothing would go wrong. Dr. Alex Turner sat at his science station surrounded by screens showing data about alien life. He was the best scientist on Earth when it came to studying life forms that might exist on other worlds. Alex had dreamed of finding aliens since he was a small boy. Now he might actually meet them. Lieutenant Ben Parker worked at the communications desk. He talked to all the space stations around Earth. Ben made sure everyone knew the Leviathan was ready to leave. His job was to keep Earth informed about their mission. After today, he would be the voice that connected the ship to home, engineer. Paul Griffin checked the massive engines one last time. The quantum drives were new technology that no other ship had ever used. They worked by creating small tiers in space that the ship could travel through. Paul understood how they worked better than anyone else alive. He built most of the engine systems with his own hands. Dr. Amy Walsh studied alien languages that did not exist yet. She was ready to talk to any aliens they might find. Amy knew 37 human languages and had created computer programs that could learn new languages in hours. If they met aliens, she would be the first person to talk to them. The mission was simple but dangerous. They would travel to a star system called Kepler 442. Scientists had found planets there that might support life. The Leviathan would build the first human colony outside of Earth's solar system. They would also search for signs of intelligent alien life. Jake pressed a button and spoke to the entire ship. His voice reached all 50,000 people living inside the Leviathan. This is Captain Morrison. Today, we make history. We leave Earth to find new worlds and new life. We carry the hopes and dreams of all humanity with us. We will not fail. The crew began the final countdown. Paul started. The quantum drives. The engines created a low humming sound that vibrated through the entire ship. Energy levels climbed higher and higher. The space around the ship began to bend and twist. Lisa watched her instruments carefully. All systems showed green lights. The ship was ready. She looked at Jake and nodded. All systems ready, Captain. We can leave whenever you give the order. Jake took a deep breath. This moment would change everything. Once they left, there was no going back. The journey to Kepler 442 would take 3 months. During that time, they would be completely alone in the darkness between stars. Begin quantum jump, Jake said. Paul pushed the final button. The quantum drives roared to life. Space around the ship tore open like fabric being ripped apart. A black hole appeared in front of them, but this hole was different. It led to another place, far away among the stars. The Leviathan moved forward into the tear in space. In seconds, the ship disappeared from Earth's solar system. The hole closed behind them, leaving only empty space where the massive ship had been. What none of them knew was that their ship was so big and powerful that aliens all across the galaxy could see it coming. The quantum drives created energy signals that traveled faster than light. Advanced alien civilizations had instruments that could detect these signals from thousands of light years away. For the first time in galactic history, a species had built a Titan-class starship without any help or guidance from older alien races. This had only happened 7 times before in millions of years. 6 of those times, the new species had become destroyers who conquered everything they found. Only once had a Titan-class species chosen peace over war. Now sensors across the galaxy lit up with warnings. Emergency meetings began on 1,000 different worlds. Ancient alien leaders who had lived for thousands of years felt fear for the first time in centuries. They all asked the same question. Would these new humans be destroyers, or would they choose peace? The Leviathan flew through quantum space carrying 50,000 humans toward their destiny. They had no idea that their arrival would change the entire galaxy forever. 3 weeks into their journey through quantum space, Communications Officer Sam Rodriguez noticed something strange on his instruments. Radio signals filled his screens like stars in the night sky. The signals came from everywhere in normal space, around them. They were organized and complex like the radio traffic around Earth, but much older and more advanced. Sam called Dr. Amy Walsh to his station. Amy looked at the signals with excitement growing in her eyes. These were not natural radio, waves from stars or planets. These signals had patterns and structure. They carried information between intelligent minds somewhere out in the galaxy. "Captain," Sam said over the ship's communication system, "you need to see this right away." Jake Morrison arrived on the bridge within minutes. Dr. Alex Turner came, with him along with Commander Lisa Hayes. They all gathered around Sam's station to look at what he had found. "These are alien communications," Amy said with wonder in her voice. "There are thousands of different signal types, multiple languages, multiple species. The galaxy is full of intelligent life." Alex studied the data streaming across the screens. "Some of these signals are very old. I can detect transmission methods that are thousands of years ahead of our technology. We are not alone, and we never were alone." Jake felt his heart beating faster. This changed everything about their mission. They were not exploring an empty galaxy. They were entering a neighborhood that was already full of ancient civilizations. "Can you translate any of it?" Jake asked Amy. Amy was already working with her computer programs. "Give me time. I can see mathematical patterns that should be universal. If I can find their number systems, I can start to understand their basic concepts." For the next 2 weeks, Amy worked day and night to decode the alien signals. She found references to star systems and planets. She discovered trade routes between different species. She learned about wars that had ended before humans had learned to use fire. Dr. Turner helped by analyzing the scientific data hidden in the transmissions. He found star charts and planetary surveys. He discovered that the aliens had mapped most of the galaxy. They knew about thousands of worlds that supported life. Then something began to change. The signal traffic started to decrease. Ship by ship, and station by station, the alien communications grew quieter. Emergency broadcasts replaced normal traffic. Short-coded messages took the place of long conversations. "They know we are coming," Amy said after studying the changing patterns for 3 days. "I can translate some of their emergency codes now. They are warning each other about something approaching from human space." Sam tracked the wave of silence spreading outward from their position. "It started when we entered quantum space near Earth. Every day fewer aliens are talking on their normal channels." Jake called a meeting of all his senior officers. They gathered in the main conference room while the Leviathan continued its journey toward Kepler 442. The room felt heavy with the weight of what they had learned. "We are causing fear," Jake said. "Our ship is so big and powerful that we are scaring civilizations that have existed for millions of years." Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Brooks had been studying the military implications of the alien signals. "Some of these civilizations have technology that is thousands of years more advanced than ours. But they are afraid of us. That means our ship is more powerful than anything they have ever seen." Lisa looked at the star charts Amy had decoded from alien transmissions. "They have been watching us. Some of these signals contain references to Earth and human development. They know about us, but we never knew about them. Paul Griffin had been analyzing the technical data in the alien communications. Their ships use fusion drives and solar collectors. We have quantum drives that can tear holes in space. Our technology developed in a completely different direction from theirs. Dr. Turner brought up holographic displays showing the alien signal analysis. They call ships like ours Titan-class vessels. I found references to only 7 other species in galactic history that built ships this large and powerful. What happened to those 7 species? Jake asked. Amy translated text from the alien databases. 6 of them became conquerors. They used their advanced ships to take over large parts of the galaxy. Entire civilizations fled to other galaxies to escape them. And the 7th species? Lisa asked. They disappeared, Alex said quietly. The aliens believe they transcended physical existence and moved to a higher plane of reality. Jake walked to the large window that showed the swirling colors of quantum space rushing past their ship. Somewhere out there in normal space, ancient civilizations were preparing for the arrival of what they believed might be new conquerors. We have a choice to make, Jake said. We can be the destroyers they fear, or we can be something different, something better. Ryan looked at the tactical displays showing their ship's massive weapons systems. We have the power to defeat any ship they can build. Their fusion drives cannot match our quantum technology. If we wanted to conquer the galaxy, we probably could. But that is not who we are, Jake said firmly. We came here to explore and learn. We came to find friends among the stars, not to make slaves or subjects. Amy continued working to decode more alien languages as the Leviathan flew toward its destination. Every day brought new understanding of the vast galactic community they were about to join. Every day also brought new evidence that their arrival was causing panic across thousands of star systems. The question that haunted everyone on the ship was simple. When they arrived at Kepler 442, would they find friends waiting to greet them? Or would they find empty space where entire civilizations had fled in terror from the approaching human titan? The Leviathan dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the Kepler 442 star system with a flash of blue light that could be seen from any planet in the system. The massive human ship cast shadows across nearby asteroids as it hung motionless, in the darkness between worlds. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, looking at the sensor displays with amazement and growing concern. The star system was not empty as they had expected. Artificial structures filled the space around every planet and moon. Massive ring-shaped stations orbited the larger worlds. Mining platforms harvested asteroids throughout the system. Everything showed the signs of advanced alien civilization, but everything was also completely abandoned. No life signs anywhere, reported Dr. Alex Turner from his science station. The structures are intact and many still have power, but there are no aliens aboard any of them. Communications Officer Sam Rodriguez scanned all frequencies for any sign of activity. Dead silence. On all channels, Captain. No radio traffic, no emergency beacons. Nothing. Commander Lisa Hayes studied the tactical displays. Some of these stations are enormous. That ring around the 4th planet is larger than Earth's moon. The engineering required to build something like that is incredible. Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Brooks analyzed the defensive capabilities of the abandoned structures. I count weapon systems on most of the larger stations, but they are all powered down. Whatever lives here left in a hurry, but they did not destroy anything. Jake made a decision that would change the course of human history. Prepare an away team. We need to board one of those stations and find out what happened here. Dr. Amy Walsh joined the away team along with engineer Paul Griffin and a squad of security personnel led by Ryan Brooks. They took one of the Leviathan's smaller shuttlecraft to the massive ring station orbiting the 4th planet. The station was 50 kilometers across and made from materials that seemed to change color as they approached. Docking bays large enough to hold Earth's biggest ships opened automatically as they drew near. The station's systems recognized their approach and guided them to a safe landing area. The team stepped out of their shuttle wearing protective suits, but found that the station had a breathable atmosphere. The artificial gravity felt comfortable and the temperature was perfect for human life. Everything about the station seemed designed to welcome visitors from many different species. Amy led the team deeper into the station, following corridors that were wide enough for creatures much larger than humans. The walls displayed moving pictures that showed star charts and planetary information. Text in dozens of different alien languages scrolled past their eyes. They reached a central chamber that took Amy's breath away. The room was a museum containing the history of hundreds of different alien species. Holographic displays showed creatures of every possible shape and size. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that Amy could barely understand how they could exist. Each display contained detailed information about a different species, their home worlds, their cultures, their achievements and failures, their rise to intelligence, and their spread across the galaxy. The museum was a celebration of the diversity of life in the universe. But one section of the museum stood empty, a large space with blank displays and silent projectors. Text above the empty section was written in every alien language the museum contained. Amy's translation programs quickly decoded the meaning. "This section is reserved for humanity," she said with wonder in her voice. Paul discovered computer terminals that contained detailed records about Earth going back thousands of years. The aliens had been watching human development since before the pyramids were built. They knew about human wars and human achievements. They had tracked human technological progress year by year. "They have been waiting for us," Paul said, as he scrolled through files containing information about human space exploration. "They knew we would eventually develop interstellar travel." Ryan found tactical information that made him uncomfortable. The museum contained detailed analysis of human military capabilities. The aliens knew about every weapon system on the Leviathan. They understood human defensive strategies and battle tactics. "They know exactly how powerful we are," Ryan reported. "These files contain technical specifications for our quantum drives and gravitational weapons. They know we could destroy any ship they have." Amy found the most disturbing information in the historical archives. Records of the 7 previous species that had developed Titan-class technology. Detailed accounts of what those species had done when they encountered galactic civilization. The first Titan species had enslaved entire star systems. The second had destroyed any civilization that refused to surrender. The third had harvested other species for food and raw materials. The fourth had used other intelligent beings as living computers. The fifth had turned inhabited planets into massive factories. The sixth had simply destroyed everything they encountered for the joy of destruction. Only the 7th Titan species had chosen a different path. They had shared their technology freely and helped other civilizations advance. But after 1,000 years of peace, they had simply vanished from the galaxy. Some believed they had transcended physical existence. Others thought they had traveled to another universe entirely. "We are the 8th Titan species," Amy said quietly. "Every other civilization in the galaxy is waiting to see which path we will choose." The team spent hours exploring the station and learning about galactic history. They found star charts showing the locations of thousands of inhabited worlds. They discovered trade networks that connected civilizations across the entire galaxy. They learned about wars and alliances that had shaped galactic politics for millions of years. But they also found recent evacuation records. The aliens had not just abandoned this one-star system. They had evacuated entire sectors of the galaxy. Billions of intelligent beings had fled their homes rather than risk meeting the approaching human Titan. Jake received the away team's report while standing on the bridge of the Leviathan. The weight of what they had learned pressed down on him like the gravity of a massive planet. Humanity was not making first contact with alien civilization. They were causing the largest evacuation in galactic history. "Set course for the evacuation. Routes," Jake ordered. We need to find these aliens and show them we are not the destroyers they fear. The Leviathan began moving deeper into the Kepler 442 system, following the energy signatures left by fleeing alien ships. Somewhere ahead of them, an entire galactic civilization waited in terror for the humans to reveal their true nature. The Leviathan followed the energy trails left by the fleeing alien ships deeper into space beyond the Kepler 442 system. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the main tactical display watching the quantum signatures of hundreds of alien vessels all heading toward the edge of the galaxy. The evacuation fleet was enormous and represented dozens of different species traveling together. Engineer Paul Griffin worked to analyze the alien propulsion systems from the energy readings they left behind. Their fusion drives are clean and efficient but very slow compared to our quantum technology. They have been running their engines at maximum power for weeks trying to get away from us. Dr. Alex Turner studied the composition of the fleeing fleet. I count at least 40 different ship designs. Some are massive colony ships carrying millions of beings. Others are smaller vessels that might be military escorts. They are all traveling together like a refugee convoy. Communications Officer Sam Rodriguez monitored the alien radio traffic. They are still talking to each other but using heavily encrypted channels. Dr. Walsh is working to break their codes, but it will take time. Commander Lisa Hayes calculated intercept courses on her navigation displays. At our current speed, we can catch up to them in 18 hours. Our quantum drives give us a huge advantage in speed and maneuverability. Jake made a decision that surprised his crew. Reduce speed to half power. I do not want to overtake them suddenly and cause more panic. We need to approach slowly and give them time to see that we are not attacking. Dr. Amy Walsh worked frantically to decode the alien communications. She had made progress understanding their basic languages, but their military codes were much more complex. I can make out general meanings, she reported. They are coordinating defensive positions and evacuation procedures. They expect us to attack at any moment. Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Brooks studied the tactical information they had gathered about alien military capabilities. Their weapons are powerful, but designed for fighting other fusion-powered ships. Our quantum shields and gravitational deflectors make us nearly invulnerable to their attacks. They know this, which is why they are running instead of fighting. The chase continued for 2 days as the Leviathan slowly gained ground on the alien evacuation fleet. Jake ordered his crew to broadcast peaceful messages on all frequencies, but received no responses. The aliens either could not understand human languages or were too frightened to answer. On the 3rd day, everything changed. The alien fleet suddenly stopped moving and formed a defensive formation in empty space, far from any star system. Hundreds of ships arranged themselves in layers with the largest vessels in the center and smaller warships forming a protective screen around them. They have decided to make a stand, Lisa observed. They cannot outrun us, so they are preparing to fight. The Leviathan dropped out of quantum space directly in front of the alien formation. Jake wanted to show that humans could have appeared anywhere in their fleet, but had chosen to approach from the front where they could be seen clearly. The alien ships immediately powered up their weapons and raised their defensive shields. Energy. Readings spiked across all sensor displays as hundreds of fusion reactors prepared for battle. The aliens were terrified, but they were also brave enough to defend their evacuation fleet. Jake opened communication channels on every frequency the aliens used. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human vessel Leviathan. We come in peace. We do not wish to harm anyone. Please respond. For several minutes, there was only silence. Then, a single transmission came back on an ancient radio frequency that Amy recognized as a galactic emergency channel. The message was simple and heartbreaking. Please do not hurt us. Amy quickly programmed the translation computers to respond. In the same alien language, Jake spoke slowly and clearly, while the computers converted his words into sounds the aliens could understand. We are not here to hurt anyone. We wish to talk. We want to learn about your civilizations and share knowledge. We seek friendship among the stars. The response came from a different ship using a more sophisticated communication system. The voice belonged to someone who had clearly lived for a very long time and held great authority among the alien species. I am the Prime Curator of the Galactic Preservation Council. We have monitored your species for many centuries. We know of your technological capabilities. History shows us what Titan-class species do when they encounter galactic civilization. Jake chose his words carefully. We know about the 7 species that came before us. We have studied their actions in your historical records. We are not like them. We choose a different path. 6 of the previous Titan species said the same words when they first made contact. They spoke of peace and friendship. Then they revealed their true nature as conquerors and destroyers. Only the 7th species proved different, and they vanished from our reality entirely. Dr. Turner had been analyzing the alien ship formations and noticed something important. Captain, their fleet composition includes ships from species that were described as ancient enemies in the museum records. They have put aside conflicts that lasted millions of years to unite against us. Amy worked to establish better communication protocols with the Prime Curator. They are sharing their translation matrices with us. I can now understand multiple alien languages simultaneously. The Prime Curator continued speaking, and his words were filled with the wisdom of ages. Your species developed Titan-class technology without any guidance from galactic civilization. This has happened only 8 times in cosmic history. 7 times it ended in conquest or transcendence. We flee because we do not know which path humanity will choose. Jake realized that this conversation would determine the fate of countless civilizations across the galaxy. Every word he spoke would be analyzed and remembered for millions of years. The decision he made in the next few minutes would echo through cosmic history. We understand your fear. We have the power to dominate, but we choose to cooperate. We have weapons that could destroy worlds, but we will use them only to protect the innocent. We offer not conquest, but partnership. The alien fleet remained in defensive formation, but Jake noticed that their weapons were no longer targeting the Leviathan. The aliens were listening, and perhaps beginning to hope that these new humans might be different from their predecessors. The Prime Curator spoke again after consulting with the other alien leaders. Your words are encouraging, but words alone cannot erase the lessons of history. How do we know that humans will not become destroyers like the others before you? Jake looked around his bridge at the crew who had followed him across the galaxy, in search of new worlds and new life. These were explorers and scientists and engineers who dreamed of building rather than destroying. They represented the best of humanity, and he knew they would not fail the test that history had placed before them. Captain Jake Morrison faced the most important decision in human history as he stood before the communication displays, showing hundreds of alien ships waiting for his response. The Prime Curator had asked how they could know that humans would not become destroyers like the 6 Titan species before them. The fate of galactic civilization hung on Jake's next words. We offer proof through actions, not just words, Jake said carefully. We will power down our weapon systems and lower our shields. We will show you that we trust you even though we could destroy your entire fleet. The bridge crew looked at Jake with surprise and concern. Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Brooks stepped forward with worry in his voice. Captain, if they decide to attack us while our defenses are down, we could be severely damaged. That is exactly why this gesture will prove our peaceful intentions, Jake replied. A species planning conquest would never make themselves vulnerable to their intended victims. Commander Lisa Hayes worked at her station to comply with the captain's orders. Powering down all weapon systems, lowering quantum shields. We are now defenseless against their attacks. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate and dramatic. Ship after ship began powering down their own weapons. The defensive formation gradually relaxed as the aliens realized that the massive human vessel had made itself vulnerable to prove its peaceful nature. The Prime Curator's voice carried new emotion when he spoke again. This is unprecedented. No Titan-class species has ever shown such trust to those they considered inferior. Your actions suggest that humans may indeed be different from your predecessors. Dr. Amy Walsh had been monitoring communications between the alien ships and noticed increasing excitement in their conversations. They are amazed by what we just did. Some of them are saying this proves humans value life over power. Dr. Alex Turner analyzed the biochemical signatures from the alien ships and made an important discovery. Captain, I am detecting stress hormones dropping rapidly across their fleet. They are no longer afraid of us. Our gesture of trust has convinced them we are not a threat. The Prime Curator made an announcement that changed everything. We invite human representatives to board our council ship for face-to-face discussions. This will be the first peaceful meeting between a Titan species and galactic civilization in over 1,000,000 years. Jake selected a small diplomatic team, including Amy Walsh as translator, Alex Turner as science advisor, and Ambassador Elena Martinez, who had been trained for exactly this type of first contact situation. They took a small shuttle from the Leviathan to the alien council ship. The alien vessel was ancient and beautiful, with flowing organic lines that suggested it had been grown rather than built. The docking bay adapted itself to accommodate the human shuttle with technology that seemed almost magical. As they stepped out of their craft, the humans found themselves breathing alien air that somehow perfectly matched their physiological needs. The Prime Curator was waiting to greet them in the main council chamber. He was tall and elegant with features that reminded Elena of both birds and reptiles. His skin changed colors slightly as his emotions shifted. He had been alive for over 3,000 years and had guided galactic civilization through many crises. "Welcome to the Council of Worlds," the Prime Curator said in perfect English. "Your language was not difficult to learn once we had your translation matrices. We have been studying human culture and communication for the past several days." The council chamber contained representatives from dozens of different alien species. Some were humanoid, while others were so different that Elena struggled to understand how they could function. All of them watched the humans with intense curiosity and barely contained excitement. Elena spoke for all humanity. "We are honored to meet you and grateful for this opportunity to prove that humans can be trusted partners in galactic civilization." An alien who looked like a crystalline tree spoke with a voice like wind chimes. "Your species fascinates us. You developed quantum technology without any guidance from existing civilizations. Most species require millions of years and help from older races to achieve interstellar travel. Humans did it alone in less than 100,000 years. Amy worked to establish communication with multiple alien species simultaneously. Her translation programs were learning new languages every few minutes as more aliens joined the conversation. They want to know how we developed our technology so quickly without destroying ourselves. Alex analyzed the alien technologies around him and made startling discoveries. Their ships are powered by controlled fusion reactions that are incredibly clean and efficient. But they have never developed quantum manipulation technology. They think our quantum drives are almost magical. The Prime Curator explained the situation facing galactic civilization. "We have been preparing for the arrival of the 8th Titan species for over 1,000 years. Ancient prophecies and mathematical models both predicted that another species would achieve Titan-class technology around this time period." Elena asked the question that had been troubling all the humans since they learned about galactic civilization. "Why did you not contact us earlier? Why did you watch us develop in isolation?" A whale-like creature floating in a tank of liquid answered with deep sonar sounds that Amy's computers translated into words. "Titan species must develop their technology independently. Outside influence during the critical development phase always leads to dependency and weakness. Only species that achieve quantum manipulation alone have the strength to avoid becoming destroyers." The conversations continued for hours as humans and aliens shared information about their respective civilizations. Elena learned about galactic trade networks that connected thousands of worlds. Alex discovered scientific principles that human science had never imagined. Amy documented languages and cultures that expanded her understanding of what intelligence could become. But the most important discussion was about the future. The Prime Curator presented the choice that every Titan species eventually faced. You can become rulers of the galaxy. Your technology gives you the power to conquer any civilization you encounter. 6 previous Titan species chose this path and turned the galaxy into a realm of fear and slavery. Or you can choose transcendence. The 7th Titan species shared their technology freely and helped other civilizations advance. After 1,000 years of peace, they evolved beyond physical existence and joined the cosmic forces that shape reality itself. Elena looked at her companions and saw her own thoughts reflected in their faces. This was not really a choice at all. Humans had come to the stars seeking knowledge and friendship. They had no desire to become cosmic tyrants. "We choose partnership," Elena said firmly. "We will share our technology with those who want it and learn from civilizations that have wisdom to offer. We seek to build rather than destroy. We want to add to galactic civilization rather than replace it." The response from the Alien Council was immediate and overwhelming. Beings from hundreds of different worlds began transmitting messages of welcome and gratitude. The greatest evacuation in galactic history had become the greatest celebration. 3 months after first contact, the Leviathan had become the center of the largest gathering of alien ships in galactic history. Vessels from hundreds of different worlds surrounded the massive human starship like planets orbiting a star. Each day brought new arrivals, as civilizations that had fled in terror returned to witness the miracle of a peaceful Titan species. Captain Jake Morrison walked through the ship's expanded diplomatic quarters, where alien ambassadors lived and worked, alongside human crew members. The Leviathan had been transformed from a colony ship into the unofficial capital of galactic civilization. Jake still found it hard to believe how quickly everything had changed. Ambassador Elena Martinez had become the most important human in the galaxy as she negotiated treaties and agreements with dozens of alien governments. Her office was constantly filled with beings from across the cosmos, all seeking to establish formal relations with humanity. "The Crystalline Collective wants to share their quantum computing technology with us," Elena reported during the daily briefing. "In exchange, they want access to our gravitational manipulation systems. The trade would benefit both our civilizations enormously." Dr. Amy Walsh had become the galaxy's leading expert on interspecies communication. She now spoke 47 alien languages fluently, and her translation programs had become the standard for all diplomatic communications. The hive minds of the Andromeda sector have requested permission to establish a permanent embassy aboard the Leviathan. They consider our ship to be neutral territory where all species can meet safely. Dr. Alex Turner worked with alien scientists to combine human and galactic knowledge into new discoveries that neither could have achieved alone. The Botanical Synthesis Guild has taught us how to grow living starships. Their organic technology, combined with our quantum drives, could create vessels that repair themselves and evolve over time. Engineer Paul Griffin spent his days learning about technologies that seemed impossible even by human standards. "The cosmic engineers showed me how to build structures that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. They want to help us construct space habitats that are bigger on the inside than the outside. But the most remarkable discoveries came from the ancient archives that the aliens shared with humanity. The Galactic Preservation Council had maintained detailed records of cosmic history going back millions of years. These archives contained knowledge about the rise and fall of countless civilizations and the cosmic forces that shaped the evolution of intelligence throughout the universe. The Prime Curator had become Jake's closest advisor and friend among the aliens. The ancient being possessed wisdom accumulated over thousands of years and had witnessed events that were already legend when human civilization began. During their private conversations, Jake learned truths about the universe that changed his understanding of humanity's place in the cosmic order. "Your species is more unusual than you realize," the Prime Curator explained during one of their evening talks. "Most civilizations develop technology slowly over millions of years with guidance from older species. Humans achieved quantum manipulation in complete isolation and did it faster than should be theoretically possible." Jake sat in his ready room looking out at the alien fleet surrounding his ship. "Our scientists always said we developed technology quickly, but we assumed that was normal for intelligent species." Far from normal. Most species require external guidance to avoid destroying themselves during technological advancement. Humans not only survived the dangerous transition periods, but accelerated through them. This suggests that your species possesses an unusual combination of intelligence, creativity, and wisdom. The Prime Curator activated a holographic display showing the galactic map with the locations of all known civilizations. There are over 10 million intelligent species in this galaxy. Of those, only 8 have ever achieved Titan-class technology independently. 6 became destroyers. 1 transcended. Now humanity has become the second to choose the path of partnership. Jake studied the map and noticed something important. The areas controlled by the 6 destroyer species are all empty now. What happened? To them? They destroyed themselves eventually. Species that choose conquest over cooperation always turn their destructive instincts inward once they run out of external enemies. The longest any destroyer civilization lasted was 50,000 years before collapsing into civil war and extinction. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from the bridge. Communications Officer Sam Rodriguez reported that they were receiving a transmission unlike anything they had encountered before. The signal came from outside the galaxy and carried technical specifications that hurt to look at directly. Jake and the Prime Curator rushed to the bridge where Dr. Turner was analyzing the impossible transmission. "The signal originates from a point in space that does not exist according to our instruments. The mathematical concepts it contains describe technologies that manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself." Amy worked frantically to decode the alien message, but her computers kept overheating from the complexity of the information. "The language patterns are familiar, but evolved far beyond anything in our databases. I think this might be a message from the 7th Titan species." The Prime Curator's skin shifted through colors that Jake had never seen before, indicating emotions that had no human equivalent. "The predecessors have not communicated with galactic civilization for over 1,000,000 years. If they are reaching out now, it must be because of humanity's choice to pursue partnership over conquest." The message finally resolved into words that could be understood by both human and alien minds. The voice that spoke carried wisdom and power that made even the ancient Prime Curator seem young and inexperienced. "Greetings to the 8th Titan species, and to our friends in galactic civilization. We are the ones you call the predecessors. We achieved transcendence long ago, but we have watched the galaxy with great interest, waiting for another species to make the choice we made. Humanity has proven that the path of partnership is not unique to our species. You have shown that Titan-class civilizations can choose cooperation over conquest. This brings us great joy and validates our decision to transcend rather than rule. We offer you a gift, knowledge that will allow humanity to follow the same path we took toward transcendence. But first, you must prove that you are truly committed to partnership by helping other species achieve their own advancement. Only when the galaxy is filled with civilizations that have reached their full potential will humanity be ready for the next stage of existence." The message ended, leaving everyone on the bridge in stunned silence. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not only made peaceful contact with galactic civilization, but had also caught the attention of beings who had evolved beyond physical existence entirely. Jake looked around at his crew and the alien representatives who had become their friends and partners. "It looks like our mission is just beginning. We came here to establish one colony. Instead, we have become the guardians of galactic civilization and the students of cosmic transcendence." The Prime Curator spoke with deep satisfaction in his ancient voice. "This is the first time in 1,000,000 years that the galaxy has had reason for genuine hope. Humanity may be the species that finally breaks the cycle of destruction and helps all civilizations reach their true potential." Outside the Leviathan's windows, the combined fleets of hundreds of worlds began coordinating the greatest cooperative effort in galactic history. The age of fear was ending, and the age of unlimited possibility was about to begin. 2 years had passed since the Leviathan's arrival in the Kepler 442 system, and the galaxy had transformed in ways that no one could have imagined. The massive human starship had become the mobile capital of the first truly cooperative galactic civilization in cosmic history. Jake Morrison no longer thought of himself as just a ship captain, but as one of the architects of a new age of interspecies collaboration. The Leviathan now traveled constantly between star systems, carrying diplomats, scientists, and engineers to worlds that had been isolated from each other for millions of years. Human quantum drive technology had revolutionized galactic transportation. Journeys that once took decades now required only days. For the first time in galactic history, all civilized worlds could communicate and trade with each other regularly. Ambassador Elena Martinez had established the Galactic Cooperation Council with representatives from over 300 different species. The council met aboard the Leviathan every few months to coordinate massive projects that benefited entire sectors of the galaxy. Elena had become the most respected diplomat in cosmic history, and her translation of human concepts like democracy and individual rights had inspired political revolutions on dozens of worlds. The methane breathers of the Outer Rim have completed their atmospheric processors, Elena reported during the morning briefing. They can now terraform gas giant moons for species that need oxygen-rich environments. In exchange, the Oxygen Alliance is providing them with quantum-enhanced fusion reactors that will power their civilization for millions of years. Dr. Amy Walsh had established the Universal Translation Project that was creating a common galactic language based on mathematical principles that all intelligent species could understand. Her work had made possible the rapid expansion of interspecies cooperation by eliminating communication barriers that had existed for eons. The hive minds have contributed their collective processing power to the translation matrix, Amy reported. We can now communicate complex scientific and philosophical concepts with over 800 different species simultaneously. The barriers between civilizations are dissolving faster than we ever dreamed possible. Dr. Alex Turner led the Galactic's Science Consortium, which combined the knowledge and capabilities of every spacefaring civilization. Human creativity paired with alien wisdom had produced discoveries that seemed miraculous even by Titan-class standards. The Crystalline Collective has perfected their quantum consciousness transfer technology using our gravitational field generators, Alex announced with excitement. We can now preserve the memories and personalities of dying individuals from any species. Death itself is becoming optional for those who choose technological immortality. Engineer Paul Griffin directed the galaxy-wide infrastructure project that was connecting every inhabited system with quantum communication networks and rapid transit corridors. His team of human and alien engineers had begun construction on artificial wormholes that would make travel between distant galaxies as easy as traveling between planets. The cosmic engineers have begun work on the transgalactic gateway in the Sagittarius sector, Paul reported. When completed, it will allow instant travel to the Andromeda galaxy and beyond. We are literally opening doors between entire universes. But the most important work was being done by the Advancement Initiative led jointly by humans and the most ancient alien civilizations. Their mission was to help younger species achieve their full potential as quickly and safely as possible. This was the task that the predecessors had set for humanity before they would be ready for transcendence. The Prime Curator had become humanity's closest ally in this enormous undertaking. His vast experience and deep wisdom complemented human innovation and determination. Together, they had developed programs that could advance a primitive civilization from stone tools to quantum technology in mere centuries, instead of the millions of years such development normally required. 17 species have achieved interstellar capability this year alone, the Prime Curator reported with deep satisfaction. The combination of human teaching methods and galactic resources has accelerated development across the entire cosmic neighborhood. We are witnessing the greatest flowering of intelligence in universal history. Jake stood in the Leviathan's main observation deck, looking out at a sight that filled him with wonder every time he saw it. Hundreds of ships from dozens of different worlds traveled together in formation like a massive migration of cosmic life. Each vessel represented a different approach to technology and existence, but all of them shared the common goal of lifting up their fellow beings. Commander Lisa Hayes joined Jake at the observation windows. She had been promoted to Admiral of the Combined Galactic Fleet, which now included ships from every spacefaring civilization. The Andorian Star Empire has requested permission to join our next advancement mission to the Triangulum Galaxy. They want to help us contact the isolated civilizations in that region. Approved, Jake said without hesitation. The more species that participate in advancement work, the faster we can spread cooperation throughout the universe. The transformation of galactic civilization had not been without challenges. Some species had initially resisted the rapid changes brought by human technology and alien cooperation. A few civilizations had tried to use the new technologies for conquest rather than development. But the combined wisdom and power of the partnership had overcome every obstacle. The warrior clans of the Spiral Arm had attempted to use quantum drive technology to build a new empire. The Galactic Cooperation Council had responded not with violence but with overwhelming generosity. They had offered the warriors better worlds than they could conquer and technologies that made conquest unnecessary. Within months, the former warriors had become some of the most dedicated peacekeepers in the galaxy. The isolationist worlds had tried to reject all contact with the expanding galactic community, but when plagues and natural disasters threatened their populations, the partnership had responded with immediate aid and life-saving technologies. The isolationists had gradually opened their borders and joined the cooperative effort. Each success had strengthened the partnership and proved that cooperation was more powerful than any weapon ever developed. The galaxy was learning that working together produced better results than fighting each other. Jake received a private communication from Elena requesting his presence in the diplomatic quarters. When he arrived, he found her meeting with a delegation of beings unlike any they had encountered before. They were energy creatures that existed partially outside normal space-time, and their presence made the air itself seem to glow with inner light. "Captain Morrison," Elena said formally, "I would like you to meet representatives of the Transcendent Collective. They are messengers from the predecessors." The energy beings communicated through direct telepathic contact that felt like having thoughts that were not quite your own. "Greetings, Jake Morrison. We bring word from those who achieved transcendence before you. The galaxy has progressed far beyond our most optimistic predictions. Humanity has proven worthy of the greatest honor in cosmic history." Jake felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "What honor is that?" "The opportunity to join us in transcendence. But first, there is one final test. 3 galaxies in the local group remain isolated and primitive. If humanity can bring cooperative civilization to those galaxies as you have done here, then you will be ready to evolve beyond physical existence and join the cosmic forces that guide universal development. The message was clear. Humanity's work was far from finished. They had transformed one galaxy, but there were countless others that needed their help. The path to transcendence led through service to all intelligent life throughout the universe. Jake looked out at the fleet of ships representing hundreds of worlds, all working together toward common goals. We accept the challenge. Humanity will help bring cooperation and advancement to every corner of the universe. The energy beings pulsed with approval before fading back into the dimensions beyond normal perception. The next phase of humanity's cosmic mission was about to begin. 10 years had passed since the Leviathan first dropped out of quantum space in the Kepler 442 system. Captain Jake Morrison now commanded not just one ship, but the largest cooperative fleet in cosmic history. 3,000 vessels from 800 different species traveled together as the United Galactic Advancement Force. Their mission was to bring the miracle of interspecies cooperation to the neighboring Andromeda and Triangulum galaxies. The Leviathan had been transformed into something far beyond its original design. Alien technologies had been integrated with human engineering to create a vessel that existed partially in normal space and partially in higher dimensions. The ship could now travel instantly between galaxies and support millions of beings from hundreds of different species. Jake stood in the Transcendence Chamber where the most advanced minds from across the universe worked together to solve the deepest mysteries of existence. Human scientists collaborated with crystalline intelligences that thought in pure mathematics, energy beings that existed outside of time, and machine consciousnesses that had evolved beyond their original programming. Dr. Amy Walsh had become something more than human through her integration with galactic communication networks. She could speak simultaneously with every intelligent being in 3 galaxies and coordinate conversations between species that existed in completely different dimensions of reality. The advancement of the Triangulum galaxy is proceeding ahead of schedule, Amy reported through direct neural interface. 47 primitive species have achieved interstellar travel in the past year alone. The cooperation protocols are spreading faster than we anticipated. Dr. Alex Turner had merged his consciousness with the Galactic Science Collective and now possessed knowledge that spanned millions of years of cosmic research. His hybrid human-alien perspective had revolutionized the understanding of universal development. We have achieved technological singularities in over 300 star systems, Alex announced. The combination of human innovation and galactic wisdom has created advancement rates that exceed even our most optimistic projections. We are witnessing the birth of a truly cosmic civilization. Ambassador Elena Martinez had evolved into the first intergalactic coordinator with authority that extended across multiple universes. Her negotiations had prevented wars that could have destroyed entire galactic clusters and established trade networks that connected civilizations separated by millions of light years. The Dimensional Council has approved our expansion into the parallel reality streams, Elena reported. We now have permission to help versions of ourselves that developed differently in alternate timelines. The scope of our mission has expanded beyond anything we originally imagined. Engineer Paul Griffin had become the chief architect of universal infrastructure projects that dwarfed the engineering achievements of entire civilizations. His teams had built transportation networks that connected not just galaxies, but different dimensions of existence. Construction has begun on the Universal Gateway Complex, Paul announced with pride. When completed, it will allow instant travel between any point in the multiverse. We are literally building bridges between different realities. The Prime Curator had lived for thousands of years, but even he was amazed by the pace of change that humanity had brought to cosmic civilization. In my lifetime, I have seen the galaxy transform from a collection of isolated and fearful civilizations into a unified community working toward common goals. Humanity has accomplished in 1 decade what we thought would take millions of years. But the greatest transformation had been in humanity itself. Contact with galactic civilization had not diminished human nature, but had amplified its best qualities. Human creativity, determination, and compassion had proven to be exactly what the universe needed to break free from cycles of conflict and stagnation. Jake received a communication that made his heart race with excitement and anticipation. The Transcendent Collective was requesting a meeting in the space between galaxies where the boundaries between dimensions were weakest. The time had finally come for humanity to face its ultimate destiny. The Leviathan traveled to the designated coordinates, followed by the greatest fleet ever assembled. Representatives from every known species gathered to witness what might be the most important moment in universal history. The empty space between galaxies filled with ships as countless civilizations came to honor the species that had changed everything. The Transcendent Collective appeared as beings of pure light and energy that made normal space shimmer with their presence. Their communication transcended language and spoke directly to the consciousness of every being present. Humanity has exceeded every expectation and surpassed every achievement of previous Titan species. You have not merely avoided the path of destruction, but have actively chosen to lift up every form of intelligent life you have encountered. You have transformed 3 galaxies from collections of isolated worlds into unified communities working for the benefit of all. Jake felt the attention of cosmic forces that had existed since the beginning of time, focusing on this moment. We did what felt right. We could not imagine choosing any other path. That is precisely why you have succeeded where others failed. Humanity's greatest strength is not your technology or your intelligence, but your instinctive understanding that cooperation creates better outcomes than conflict. You have proven that Titan-class civilizations can evolve beyond the need for dominance. The energy beings pulsed with colors that had no names as they prepared to deliver the message that would define humanity's future. The time has come for humanity to choose transcendence. You can join us in the realm beyond physical existence where consciousness itself becomes the tool for shaping reality. You will become cosmic gardeners helping to guide the development of intelligence throughout the multiverse. Jake looked around at his crew and the alien allies who had become family during their cosmic journey. These beings had trusted humanity when they had every reason to fear them. They had shared their knowledge and wisdom freely. They had worked together to build something greater than any of them could achieve alone. We choose transcendence, Jake said firmly, but not just for humanity. We choose it for all the species that have worked alongside us. We have learned that achievement shared is achievement multiplied. If transcendence is possible for humans, then it should be possible for everyone who desires it. The response from the Transcendent Collective was immediate and overwhelming. Waves of joy and approval washed across the assembled fleets as cosmic intelligence celebrated humanity's final demonstration of their commitment to universal cooperation. This is unprecedented, but exactly what we hoped you would choose. Transcendence will be offered to all species that have achieved the necessary level of cooperative development. Humanity will not ascend alone, but will help guide an entire cosmic community into the next stage of existence. The transformation began immediately as reality itself started to shift around them. The boundaries between individual consciousness and collective awareness began to dissolve. Physical existence expanded to encompass multiple dimensions simultaneously. The assembled fleets became something greater than the sum of their parts as millions of beings began their evolution toward cosmic transcendence. Jake felt his individual identity expanding to include the experiences and knowledge of every being he had ever encountered. But rather than losing himself in the collective, he found that his essential humanity became stronger and more clearly defined. He remained Jake Morrison, while also becoming something infinitely larger. In the archives of cosmic history, a new entry was written that would inspire countless civilizations for eons to come. Species, human. Classification, Titan-class transcendent. Achievement, First species to choose universal cooperation over individual advancement. Legacy, transformed the concept of transcendence from individual achievement to collective evolution. Status, cosmic gardeners actively guiding universal development. The age of isolated civilizations was over. The age of universal consciousness had begun. And at its heart was a species that had started with nothing more than curiosity about what lay beyond their small blue world and had ended up helping the entire universe evolve toward its highest potential. The galaxy no longer fell silent when humanity approached. Instead, it sang with the voices of countless species working together toward a future none of them could have imagined alone.